Welcome to another Sweet Summer Treats video. This is number 2 in my series. And in this series, I'm making ice cream shop summer decor DIYs using the colors of strawberry, vanilla, and chocolate. This is also part of a collab, and I'm making tiered tray decor DIYs. The first thing I'm going to be making is flower pot ice cream cones that I've seen on Pinterest. What I'm doing though is using the tiniest little terracotta pots from Dollar Tree. I started by finding a good color of paint that I thought would be more of a waffle cone color, and I'm just trying different paints on the bottom here where they won't show later. I won't have to worry about covering it up. And I chose to use the color Khaki by Apple Barrel. Use whatever color in your stash that you like. I'm going to be painting from that collar down. I guess you could call it a collar. I'm really not sure. And then for the waffle cone stripes, I'm going to be using a furniture marker. This came from Dollar Tree in a 3-pack, and I'm using the lightest color that's called Oak. This wasn't so easy to do. It's hard to work on a slant like that where it's tapered down or up, but this is how it's looking. Wasn't real happy with that, so I just painted over it to start all over again. For the strawberry color, I'm using the folk art paint called Baby Pink. And I'm going all around the collar on that and making some little spots that look like ice cream runs melting down. Or should I say drips. For the chocolate color, I'll be using Apple Barrel Territorial Beige. Same thing, just painting around that collar of the pot and making some little runs underneath there. For the vanilla color, I'm mixing 1/2 white and 1/2 sun-kissed peach. I didn't want a super stark white color. Once they were all dry, I took some of my Posca paint pens and outlined those drippy edges there. Just that little bit of detail really makes a difference on these. The vanilla color, I used a very light peach color to outline those with. If there's a color on there, I don't know because it's written in Japanese. So I used dark pink on the strawberry color. And then I outlined the chocolate color with a darker peach, or maybe it's a pastel red. I really just chose what was appealing to me. After that dried, I'm going to come in with 4 different colors of paint markers: dark pink, green, blue, and yellow. And I'm just making little dashes here and there to create what looks like sprinkles. And I do that to all 3 of the pots. And there's what they look like after I've made another waffle design on there that I'm happier with. Now I cut some styrofoam balls in half and stuck down in the middle of those pots. Perfect fit. Beautiful peony in top, slanted toward what I'm calling the front of the pots. And I think they turned out so stinking cute. There they are on my craft desk. And here they are on a tiered tray. Today's collab is hosted by the incomparable Corey of Crafted by Corey. She's asked that we make at least 3 summer DIYs. If you're not familiar with Corey, take this opportunity to check out the link in the description box. I'll also leave a link there for today's playlist. I'm going to be making some miniature milkshakes using some of these plastic shot glasses from Dollar Tree. They come 24 in a pack, and alone they're a little bit short, so what I'm going to do is stack 4 together to have a taller glass. The glass that's going to be on the bottom is where I'll put the chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry colors. I'm using Territorial beige for the chocolate. It's a little bit dark, but I didn't want to go through trying to lighten it up with white. Speaking of white, I'm using Waverly chalk paint in white for the vanilla color. And for strawberry, I used Folk Art Baby Pink. Once they were dry, I started painting around the top rim of those other glasses that I was stacking inside. The entire glass is not going to show. You'll see in just a minute what I mean. And I'm going ahead and stacking those together in the hopes that the wet paint will kind of seal them together. And that's how all 3 look so far. I'm going to fill the cups with some scrap pieces of styrofoam so I don't have to fill in so much with the whipped cream topping that I'm adding. Now this was left over from a previous project, and in the descriptions I will link that video as well as linking the recipe per se for that. The straws were a bit too thick for those milkshakes, so I used some painted skewers, cut them down to size, and then I added some little berries that were from Christmas to act as a cherry on top. And there they are on the top of the tiered tray. For this DIY, I'm giving a makeover to a Valentine truck. I'll be turning it into an ice cream truck. Here, I'm just spraying it down with water, covering it with a paper towel to leave for a few minutes, and that's going to help the adhesive to loosen up so I can easily scrape away that paper that's on top of the truck. Next, I gave the entire thing a coat of white Waverly chalk paint, and then I'm going to be using some Folk Art paint in the color Pink Balloon, and I'm doing the cab of the truck as well as some little accents of lines and squiggles on the back of that truck. There you'll see I've protected the areas that I don't want to get the paint in. For the tires, I'm using the Waverly chalk paint in the color Steel. And for the window, as well as the bumpers on this ice cream truck, I'm using Waverly chalk paint in the color Silver Lining. I also used a silver Sharpie. I'm adding the door to the truck and a little bit of accents here and there around those bumpers. And I colored in some hubcaps in the center of the tires. I created a decal with my Cricut in a chocolate brown color. And there's how that looks, all finished. So stinking cute. I found this little ice cream cart at Dollar Tree, and I thought it would be such a cute companion with the ice cream truck. But I don't like the manufactured slapped on paint, so I'm going to be giving it a little tweaking. I got a little bit of white chalk paint on my paintbrush, and I'm just dry brushing over those wheels. Then I'm going to use some khaki color to dry brush over that brown part at the bottom that's kind of a textured, I don't know, maybe it's supposed to look like a waffle cone. Anyway, that's what I did with that. I also used white on the ice cream stand, the bracing, and the white areas of the canopy that's on there. For the red, I'm going to be covering that with pink, of course. And I'm using Baby Pink again by Folk Art. The ice cream sign itself at the top, I'm going to leave alone. I'm going to use some territorial beige to do some chocolate looking ice cream cones. And I'll also use sun-kissed peach and pink balloon. So glad I found this ice cream cart and was able to paint it up to get it to match the ice cream truck. The final DIY I'm doing today, I'll be using a little mason jar salt shaker and turning it into a root beer float. I painted the inside of the glass with nutmeg brown. Had to think there for a minute. Nutmeg brown. And then to get some of the bubble effect of the cola, I added in some fake snow, the little pellet things, the little balls from Dollar Tree. They're a little bit too big, but I think this will work great for a life-size root beer float. You can see how it gives a little bubbling effect in there. I kind of pulled those up to the top for the most part with my paintbrush. For the ice cream part of this root beer float, I took some air dry clay, kind of shaped it into a ball in the center, and had some edges that looked like they were kind of running and overflowing on the glass. And I just pushed that into the top of the salt shaker. Here I'm kind of trimming up around the edges, making it look like a more natural ice cream coming over the edges of that. I added a piece of a skewer as a straw, and then another one of those little red berries. And there is how that turned out. Here I'm going to give you a final look of all 5 of today's projects. If you liked today's video, let me know by leaving a thumbs up. If it's your first time visiting my channel, comment below and say hello. Introduce yourself. Now that you're done here, go over and check out the playlist, and remember to check out Corey's channel. And until next time, bye-bye.